Should be good to go.
Arthur, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Where's Lisa?
Lisa has a nice picture up,
Yeah, I know, but she's not here.
so you have to wait a moment.
All right, I'm here. I'm jerry rigging some different systems because I had a little malfunction.
I tried that. I don't know why.
Okay.
But we can hear you, Lisa.
Okay, good. I'm working on video. Let's see.
I'm going to promote the first person, first person, the panelist. Is that okay? Or you want me to?
It's fine. I just can't go on video. I can see you guys, but you guys can't see me.
So, should we open the meeting? Welcome,
yes.
everybody. I mean, then you have to do your blurb about the, that we're on Zoom, Lisa.
Yes, I can do that.
Well, welcome to the Town of Mamaroneck Zoning Board of Appeals. We're a little bit messed up this evening, I mean, but we're going to start. Lisa, do you want to?
Yes, tonight's meeting is being held in accordance with Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.1 as extended. The public hearings on the agenda for tonight are being conducted in accordance with Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.15 as extended. Members of the public have been given instructions about how to view and/or participate in the meeting and public hearings tonight. The meeting is being live streamed on LMC TV, channel 35 on FiOS, channel 76 on Optimum, and online at lmctv.org. Francine, can you please confirm that this meeting was duly noticed?
Yes, this meeting was.
And can you please confirm that all of the applications on for public hearing tonight have been duly noticed?
All the applications have been duly noticed. All signs have been posted.
Thank you. And lastly, can you please call the roll so that we can determine whether or not a quorum is present?
Arthur Wexler,
Yes.
Irene O'Neill,
Yes.
Stephen Marsh,
Yes.
Robin Nichinsky,
Yes.
Beth Moulton.
Yes.
Thank you.
So are we ready to start?
Yep, okay, want me to call? Application number 1, case number 3205, Gandaz Avila, 75 Myrtle Boulevard, requesting an as-built garage on the premises located at 75 Myrtle Boulevard and known on the tax assessment map as block 124, lot 383.
I'll make a
I'd
motion.
just like the board to know, I have a little disclaimer. This was approved to be built as it is. Unfortunately, missed that. I didn't realize they were rebuilding the garage. I misread the plan. So
What?
when we,
You're not clear, very clear.
sorry, is that any better?
Well, continue.
All right, so what happened was I didn't realize on the plan that they were rebuilding the garage also. And so this should have went to zoning before it was approved.
But isn't
We
there a
picked it up.
question? Wasn't there a question about when the
Oh, there was?
garage? I'm sorry, my apology.
There was there was one other thing, which actually I didn't even think of until later on, was that the garage was actually used to be a detached structure. It became an attached structure, so really it should have went anyway, even if it wasn't being rebuilt. So unfortunately, I did miss two things that.
And in this case, the garage becomes part of the principal structure, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I like that. I opened up the meeting already? The case?
Motion,
No.
I'd like to make a motion, to open up the case.
Second.
Mr. Saba, you're on. Explain to us what, are you, yes.
Hi.
Hi. There was no elevations of the
Hear you.
drawing. There are? Can you explain to us?
Elevation?
What the building looks like from looking at it, not from the top, but from your eye view, not meaning side view, front.
Yeah,
Instead.
sure. So basically, yeah, so the structure right now is almost identical to the structure that previously existed. It's built on the same foundation. It's simply new walls, but the difference is that it's up against the addition that we have in our, that we built. That was the main renovation that we did. We built an addition going, where our deck was, out into the backyard. And this now sits right against that. Originally, the intention was to just renovate the garage, but as they were doing the addition, they realized that for structural purposes, they wanted to rebuild these walls because that garage was built in 1928 or something, and they said it's just not safe. So they put up new walls. It's the height is essentially the same, and it's in the same place and on the same foundation. It's simply up against the structure for support. And the only noticeable difference is that the roof is now flat rather than pitched, but the height is the same at the top point of the garage.
And the material that's used on the side of the house is the same. It's still clapboard.
Yeah, same material and everything. So
Richard, when this was presented with the plans for building permit, it's as what we're looking at right now on the plans, meaning the existing conditions show the detached garage. And the next, that's on page, I can't even tell them, the prints are very light that I'm looking at. And the previous page showing the first floor plan. Give me a moment. Can you share the screen by any chance? Do you have it? You have the
speaking
plans?
of-
You have your
Review the
plans to
application.
share?
We have plans
do
to
we
share.
have plans to share?
In other words, can you share these drawings with us on the?
They're not architects. I don't think they have that set up, Arthur. Architects can do it, but
But
typically,
Irene was at the house and she has the copies. I saw her today
Yeah.
and she
we all
copies.
have, I have them. But
I haven't, but I find it very hard.
We went
they're
over
very
the-
light.
I did touch base with Irene.
Yes, we talked, yes, I had them. I have them. I can read them.
Is there a problem with the drawings?
Well, the ones that I'm looking at are very light gray, so I'm trying to figure, I even
What
have.
are you trying to
Yes,
figure
I
out,
look
Arthur?
at them. This is small. But I can't see the drawing number, but the one that has your proposed first floor, which shows the car, actually shows the garage attached.
Yes. This is the renovation?
Well, that was torn down and rebuilt in the same footprint, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're sharing a party wall with the adjacent space, correct?
Yeah, the garage is on the same footprint. It's now up against a part of the house that didn't previously exist. So the garage used to be a standalone structure. Now it's up against the house because it's up against the
but
addition that we added.
You're not just up against the house, you're sharing the same wall with the house.
Yes, correct. It's sharing the same wall. It's with the addition.
On your property, do you face two streets?
we just face, we face Myrtle and then there's a dead, it's called like a dead street, I believe. It's not a dead street. it's just a-
Unapproved.
Unapproved, yeah.
Yeah. Not really, because it's.
Did you know that? I also just want to note that the angle of the garage, just so you know, is you can't drive it. Since it's on the same footprint before and after right now, you could never drive a car into the garage.
I
We just
saw that.
It is, we just honored the city's, what's it, regulations
Yeah,
of
zoning
zoning
laws
regulations in
that you
order
have to
to.
Keep a garage, otherwise we wouldn't, even have a garage there.
Can you explain what
You
that,
can,
what do you mean you honored
what's that?
the town's request? I mean,
Well,
you removed it.
we were told that, oh, you can't do anything with that area. You have to keep it a garage. You're required to have this be a garage. So, and I said, well, the garage is useless because I mean, you can get a motorcycle into it, but you couldn't get a car into it. And they said, it doesn't matter. It still has to be there. So we just kept it. So they just rebuilt the garage, but they are contractors, I guess. I don't know if they didn't realize they were under the impression that that they had the permission to do this, but somewhere along the process, it got screwed up, but they thought they were just rebuilding the garage in order to comply with the zoning requirements of our town. But they kept the same footprint. They just rebuilt the surrounding walls and the roof. And that was the problem because I guess we did not have the permission to take down those walls beforehand.
Well, I think the other problem that he had, or you guys had, was that you attached it to the principal building as opposed to, I'm just trying to I'm trying to get my hands around this.
That I've never heard before. It could be the case, but I've never heard that before in all this, in my history with this issue. But I've heard that the issue was that they took down the walls. And as soon as you do that, even if you leave the same foundation and footprint and it's the same height and everything else, as soon as you do that, you're building a new structure and you need approval for that. That was my understanding of the issue.
You are correct. Yeah, Mr. Chair, you are correct. The only thing is, unfortunately, the other thing that does happen, it just becomes part of the principal structure. So what Arthur's saying, just happened to notice that it was like there was actually two things that caused it. But
Okay.
didn't really affect one thing, just a snowball.
Yeah.
Well, I have no further other question. Anyone else on the board have a question?
No.
No, nobody?
No.
Well, I'd like to, anyone from the audience?
I'm checking right now. I don't have any emails on the public, which we actually we never gave out. So if anybody does have any questions, if they want to email.
I'm sorry.
PUB.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I just clarify one thing before we close this and move forward? Though the one-story garage on the side of the house, the intention was to keep it as an existing structure and attach it to the house. When you started working on it, you realized that it was in such bad shape that it needed to be rebuilt in its existing footprint. So just a safer, more substantial product, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be, okay. That's how I understand it. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
Richard, no questions from the,
No, but let me just give out my emails. My name is now my email. So, I mean, if anybody wants to send me an email, the other thing we can do is if they can send it to public, PBLICQC @townofmamaroneckny.org. And we can check for anything there. I have nobody with their hands up in the attendees. I do not see any emails on either of the my work email or on looking at the work emails on the work email or on the town email.
so there was, at this point, no comments.
No. Correct.
Well, there were two letters of neighbors on either side that were in favor of the application. I believe that was in our packet. And the one that's on your right side is probably the most affected by this.
Correct.
So is it okay if we move to close the public hearing?
Yes.
And make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Would somebody like to make a motion on this case?
I can do it. Oh, go ahead.
I'll give it a shot. Sure. File number 3205, Andar Sabur. Located 75 Myrtle Boulevard, Section 1, Block 24, Parcel 383 is looking for a variance for a rebuilt garage in the side yard where the side yard is 1.4 feet, where 8 feet is required. And in addition, a previously detached garage becomes part of the primary structure. Do we need to mention something to that effect, or?
No, just to say, it all just becomes just because of setback.
Side yard 1.4 feet where 8 feet is required. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created, the board finds that undesirable change will not be created. The garage was rebuilt in the existing, in the likeness and the existing in the footprint of the garage that had been in place since the previous house had been built, referenced back to perhaps 1928, the applicant had mentioned. So that does not change the look of the neighborhood, just makes it cleaned up and a safer structure. Whether the applicant can achieve their goals via a reasonable alternative, which does not involve the necessity of an area variance. That garage was existing non-conforming to rebuild it in its current position to make it safer and cleaner and substantial required a variance. Whether the variance is substantial, ironically, I just used that same term, but whether the variance is substantial, the variance is substantial in that it's 1.4 feet is the rest of the setback where 8 feet is required. But given that the building is, or that structure had been in place for 80 plus years, and we're just rebuilding that garage structure in its existing likeness and in its in the existing footprint, it is not substantial.
Can I add something to that?
You may.
I said that the location of the house on the property, when you take its 2 side yards at that location, the other side yard is much greater than what's required.
You're saying the combined side yards
At that location on the house,
on the
it's
property?
about 24.5 feet from its property line where 8 feet is required.
Right. Whether the variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, the board finds it will not have an adverse impact. Again, there's no, the garage did not get any taller or any larger, so it's really almost no change other than being a safer, well-built structure. And whether there has been a self-created difficulty, whether this is, again, perhaps it's self-created in that it got torn down and had to be rebuilt, but it's non-determinative. And in addition, anything that would have had to get taken care of on this garage would have required a variance since it's existing non-conforming structure.
Someone like the second?
Second,
All in favor?
you need roll call.
Roll call, sorry.
Arthur,
Oh, yes.
Irene,
Yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes,
Seth,
Yes,
thank you.
I'll be back in 1 second.
All right. Application number 2 is adjourned, by the way.
Enjoy your garage.
This is,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Have a good evening. Be well.
You can send me an email tomorrow or give me a call.
Okay, fantastic. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay.
As I said, application number 2,
Yeah.
case number 207 is adjourned. Application number 3, case number 3208. Apple Bank, 1289 Boston Post Road, requesting internally illuminated signs on the premises located at 1289 Boston Post Road, known on the tax assessment map as block 412, lot 489.
I think that I'm obligated to say that this is on the corner of my block, but I feel that I can be objective.
Robin, do you have any interest, any financial or other material interest in the approval or denial of this application?
No.
Okay,
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Is the applicant here?
Have to give me a second to find.
What happened to number 2? They're not here.
Said it was adjourned.
Oh, that's why.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm
I
looking at
couldn't
number
hear
2.
you. Francine, you're coming across very low volume.
Sorry, George.
They were adjourned because they didn't do a mailing and a sign.
I didn't get that.
2 is adjourned because they did not do a mailing or a sign.
Okay. Come on, Apple Bank, are you here?
Yes, my name is George Boyle. I'm the architect that's working for Apple Bank for 1289 Boston Post Road. And we are here to seek approval for some internally lit signs. And I think in the package, it showed the drawings. And if you'd like me to go through them, I gladly would.
Sure, why not?
Okay, can you see them?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 1 second, George, just in case I missed it. You did tell them that we're also going for a variance for having signs on the side of the building, correct?
I did not mention that, but I was going to describe it
Oh,
in this,
okay.
but
Sorry.
no problem. In essence, we have along Boston Post Road, this is a rendering of the proposed work, 2 signs that are being internally lit as channel letters. One along the main entrance and then one that is part of the drive-through area that is right over here. So we have one here, and then we have signage along where the drive-through is, like so.
Hey, seen the Boston Post Road.
Correct. Boston Post Road is right up here. Okay.
And do you have that on any of your drawings, what that looks like?
Yes. What, here are these elevations that here is the one on Boston Post Road in front of the entrance.
Right.
This is the side, the same facing Boston Post Road that is aligned with the drive-through tellers that are here. And the third part, which is the side elevations, is not really, this part is not illuminated where it says Apple Bank, but around the ATM is a glow wall that is internally lit. All these are underneath the drive-through canopy.
I thought I saw on the front also that you have an Apple Bank along the above. Well, hold on. So it's on your rendering. It's to the right of the main.
Oh, that is
Apple
on an awning and that is not illuminated.
Bank. Okay.
This is not illuminated. So what is being illuminated is right here. And then if you look underneath the trees, you can see the other Apple Bank over here.
Is that at the entry to the drive-through or the exit? I can't.
The exit of the drive-through. So it's facing the street. This elevation is from Boston Post Road looking into the property. And these 2 signs are internally lit.
And
So
what's
the-
the purpose of that sign that's at the exit to the?
It's to show that there is an ATM that is adjacent right here against the building. That it's open 24 hours. This is where the old drive-through was for the previous bank. That is now it was a glass enclosed area that's now going to be just an ATM.
Okay, and that faces the Petco
Correct.
store?
So someone going east, I guess it's east on the post road would never see that sign, correct?
Correct. There's no way, and in fact, if you look at this site plan, it's going to be very difficult to see through if the sign is here from someone coming along that road. So we do not feel that these are very visible. It's also underneath the canopy of this drive-through. And it's frankly very similar to almost what was done previously for the bank, the TD Bank that was there before. The real difference is it's an ATM as opposed to a drive-in teller.
And what's across the street from this? Do you remember?
Over here is the shopping mall.
Ferndale Shopping Center.
Ferndale, okay.
Yes.
So no residentials across the street.
No, and facing the drive-through is the back of Petco.
Mhm.
No, PetSmart. No. That's right.
So how do you see that ATM machine working? Someone would drive in?
Yeah, it's done virtually at all the banks now. In fact, you have it at your Chase Bank that's just down the street, where someone's going to go through the drive-through and inside of their car use the ATM machine. I think Bank of America does it as well, just down the street.
So that curb cut is designated only as an exit.
Correct.
Okay.
The site plan is already designed for drive-in banking. We're just changing it from people to an ATM.
And there are 3 lanes at that point.
Yes, and currently at this point, we're only dealing with 2. We're putting in the center another for a video drive-through. So if the ATM becomes full, there's a second option. The third option, we are just not doing. We're just leaving as is. So there used to be 3 ways to deposit checks. We're going to have 2.
And the only thing that's in front of us right now are the sign that's over the main entry, the big one, and the sign over the what would have been the drive-through. Is that correct?
Correct.
No, and the sign on the right side of the building.
And this
But
one.
you just said you had 2 of them.
Yeah, so we have, again, in front of the building is Apple Bank, and then on top of the canopy for the drive-through are these illuminated signs. And the third item is this glow wall that is surrounding the ATM machine.
And on the other drive-through, is there going to be another glow wall there?
No, there's not. It's just you see right here, it's just a box that you traditionally would use as with the pneumatic tube. So no, there is nothing. There's just, and again, this is, if you go there, you can see that this is just an open window of where the old drive-through was.
Where the teller was or whatever it was?
Correct. Yes.
And what is in violation of the zoning right now?
As I understand it,
Just the backlit?
just the backlit, yes.
No, the backlit signs
Yes.
and the sign on the right side of the building. There's no, for some reason, we have a code that says there's no signs allowed on the side of the building.
No signs on the side of a building.
Yes, not sure why, but we do.
And this
So
glow
for
wall
lit signs,
and the,
sorry,
excuse me, and the glow wall is going to be considered a sign.
no, not really. I don't know. He's bringing it up.
All I can
don't
see,
think
there are
that's a
2
sign.
signs and one is as you're exiting the drive-through, and the big one that's at the entry.
It sounds like, George, you have 3 lit signs in the front of the building, right? The Apple Bank, the 24-hour, then the Apple Bank again.
That is correct.
So there's 3 lit signs.
On the
Then you
front,
have 1, 2, 3. It looks like 2 on this side and 1 on the other side of just signs.
Correct.
And the BAR has approved these, I believe. Right?
Yes, that is correct.
They were good. with it.
Yeah,
Just so everybody knows.
I'm just trying to think if someone's formulating a motion, how to do that.
3 lit signs and 3 sidewall signs.
As opposed to just 3 signs. So I'm trying,
No, as opposed to non-lit signs. And I mean,
Sidewalk.
no. Again, I'm sorry.
they do fall legally. They have the amount of signage, the length, all that is all legal. So we don't have anything going wrong with the amount of signs or the length of signs. It's just the lighting. So we have 3 lit signs that need approval. And then we have signs on the side of the building, which would need approval. So it's 3 and 3.
I have a question. George, in comparison to what had been approved at the TD Bank, are these Apple Bank signs replacing previously approved illuminated signs, or did TD Bank not have any illuminated signs there?
I am not aware of
All-
what they had before, because everything was been taken off. The difference that we're doing on this is that on our front, we are having awnings, which did not exist before. And
Right.
on those, we are doing a complying sign that is part of this. It should also be noted that our sign, overall, the amount of signs we're putting in here is significantly less than what is allowed by code. So we have
But
reduced.
Is it just that it's an internally illuminated channel letter that's then,
That is my understanding. That I think there's 2 things. One is that we're here because of these internally lit channel letters. And as well, because of the awning, we have a sign on the awning, which it says you can do them, but we have an awning that's on the side that becomes part of needs a variance.
And that's integrated into the awning.
I have one other question regarding your, the large Apple Bank over your main entry as individual channel letters. Do they sit literally individually? It's not on a backing or in a box.
Not on a back. They are sitting on, the black is a metal panel.
Right.
Okay. And these are sitting on that metal panel. Here's a nice image.
There,
to show.
that's better. Yep.
Okay.
On this sheet, A102.00, you have a bunch of other type of signs. Are they not applicable to this job?
No,
Correct, Richard?
not for zoning. Is that, no, because the,
On the lower right, yeah, it looks like two pylon signs on posts.
No, those are, well, they're small signs that are for,
not on those ones, those are parking signs? What about on are you talking about the ones on the left side, Arthur,
Yeah, the 2 pylons, right.
on the other side, George, lower?
here.
Yeah.
These are not illuminated. They're not illuminated. And they're not attached to the building, so
Yep.
your definitions are a little screwy. We had kind of confusion about this. These are just to show directions of, like, when you get there, which way to go.
Okay, so those are just directional signs.
Correct.
It's hard for me to see what size how tall are they?
They're 2.6 by 1.3.
Oh, that's already good.
But you don't require a variance for those signs.
Again, I think the reason we're here is just for these illuminated channel letters and the awning signs that are facing the sides.
Mhm.
Is that correct, Richard?
That is correct.
Thank you.
I have one more question because I think, Arthur, did you mention that, or Rich, that this was reviewed by the ARB,
EAR.
not the ARB, the
EAR.
PAR.
BAR?
Yes.
The
Okay.
letter in our packets.
No, that letter's for CVS across the street.
I don't know.
Oh, Ed might have made a mistake.
No, it says Apple on it.
for both.
I wonder if they just reused the letter and
That's what he did.
yes, in by mistake. Yeah, that was my.
So I spoke to the chairman.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Richard, any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Richard from the virtual audience?
Give me one second. Nobody with their hands up? What's going on with this screen? I lost my ability to get to my email. One sec. Nothing at the town's email. And nothing at my email. So no, we have nothing.
So I'm going to proceed to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Would someone like to make a motion on this? Might be a little confusing. I'll make a motion then.
Right ahead, Arthur. Yes.
George, before they go, can I just ask, is that one freestanding Apple sign that's replacing the TD Bank sign? Is, I think it's right to the right of the entrance or something. Is that lit from inside?
Yes.
It is. I'm just trying to see if I missed something or if there was a exception for freestanding, if it was only wall sign. So I think that actually has to be part of it too. So I think we have four signs then, not three.
What does that mean?
None, it's just not, it's still illuminated signs. It's just, so did you see on plan 102, I believe it was? On the upper left?
It's on the screen right now if you want to see
On
it.
the screen now. So the one on the upper left, number one, I think it's number one. I have stuff in my mind.
Upper left word.
Monument sign?
Yes.
Yeah, the monument sign.
Oh, and where is that? Where would that be placed in terms of the building?
That is,
Well, it's,
Approaching Petco.
The TD Bank.
and
sign
it's
over
both sided.
Can we see the picture of the front of the building?
I think it's so,
Yeah, near there. There it is.
and it's one over here to there. Is that sign on both sides of the monument?
yes. And these are, just so we're clear, these signs are significantly less than what is allowed by code.
You want to clarify that?
Sure, if you look at number 5, you can see where.
You think I can read that on? Can you zoom in?
Oh, okay. It's, the permitted is 6 feet and we are 5'3".
Can you blow that up? Because I can't read it. What's,
You know, I wish I could. Let me see if I can. Whoops. Right here. We had a sort of a confusion about before about what your town considers a pylon versus what everyone else does. We found out that it is a monument sign, and by code, you're permitted is 6 feet, and we are currently 5'3".
So you're saying we don't need a variance for that sign,
Just the lighting of it,
just the lighting of it?
the interior lighting.
Could you show me on the picture of the building where this sign would be?
It's beyond the rendering that you see on this, so
Okay, but what side?
What are the
it's
site?
over here, and it's on both sides. Okay, so perhaps this is the best to show that. If you look right here, there's the entrance and exit here. And there is frankly where TD Bank had their monument sign. It's in the same location over here. And there is another one, if here's Petco, it's right next to that. Again,
And they're facing, the signs are facing
Traffic.
east and west
correct.
on both those signs, correct?
Yes,
The sign that's closer to the Dunkin' Donuts
right here.
side, that sign is basically in front of that parking lot there.
Correct. And just so we're clear, we're also, it's not part of this, but part of the approval with your architectural board is we have made this entire area inside of here and along here and here a pollinated garden that's going to be all the way across. So our attitude was very simple in that this is sort of a win-win for both Apple and for the town of Mamaroneck. So all of this will be encased in, the sign will be surrounded by a kind of a pollinated garden inside of here.
I just want the board to remember too, that they actually, if they weren't internally illuminating those signs, they would not have needed to come to us. So if they put floodlights going up to them, external illumination, you know, they would just be part of the.
Interesting. Is there a limit as to, do they, are they illuminated 24 hours a day? Or
No.
throughout the night, or do they have to shut off at 11 o'clock or something like that?
Yeah, they have to show off usually within an hour. Let me just get to that part of the code again. It's within an hour of the closing, I believe. Let me just see them.
Except for the glow wall, that's open 24 hours.
Well, it says anything, if it has, well, ATMs are harder to, there's some state laws, I think, with ATMs for safety reasons. So you know, that's a little different, but the ATM, it's, if you need it for safety or security, it can stay on.
So
it's
underneath the
basically-
canopy,
Illuminated sign cannot be lit after 11 p.m. prevailing time unless the sign advertises, unless it's advertised a business that is open after 11.
underneath the canopy, are there downlights?
Yes, and they, by code, there's existing skylights that are illuminated underneath that. And by code, an ATM has to be lit by a certain amount of foot candles for security reasons.
Now, you have a letter here from the Board of Architectural Review. Correct? Approving the signage. Were they aware of the 2 additional illuminated signs that just came to our attention?
No, they had the plans, so yes, they were aware of it.
Okay.
So there's a total of 7 illuminated signs then.
5.
5.
Well, there's what, that sign, those little monuments are lit up on both sides with 2 different signs.
It's still considered one sign, I believe. But yeah, if you want to call it that, I mean, I would just.
There's
that's-
7.
that's however you want to.
You know, it's the only signs you can see when you're riding down the street.
Mhm.
But you're not going to see them all at once. That's the whole point, is that.
No, you're not going to, true. You're going to pass the first one, get past the bank, and you'll see the next one. It's a lot of it's little Apple Bank signs.
I think Richard said it too, is that we can, we're trying to do this in a building standard or Apple standard way, that by code, these monument signs could be lit externally without issue. We're trying to do it all sort of so it looks as if they are the same.
And the signs on a monument, are they integrated into the monument or are they
Yes.
applied?
Yes, they're integrated. And they're, you know, quite frankly, they're quite modest compared to some of the other signs that are along this street.
Yes, there's also, there's street lighting there. And I generally kind of makes the area a little safer to have it lit up a little bit.
And I can't reinforce as much as what we are doing to make this a really kind of very special place, that this sign is going to be nestled in, as well as the amount of landscaping that we're doing along this front. Is we're trying to address the front of Boston Post Road as an invitation to come to this bank. And we see that as an important asset for both the bank and for the town.
Anyone else have any other questions?
No.
Can you speak to that environmental impact? Again, are you seeing my cursor? No, to that green space? You said it was a pollinating area or something to that
A
effect?
pollinated garden. We are making what is right now like a stone wall and some grass along here, and all pretty scraggly. This entire area inside of here is filled with a variety of different native plantings that are for, we had a landscape architect that worked with us to create this. And what we're trying to do is make this sort of green carpet that goes all the way across. And so as opposed to doing it like we originally had, which is this old rendering of just grass and a hedge, this is all being filled in now all the way across here with a variety of different species. And this expressly is being done as a pollinated garden.
When you say a pollinator, can you clarify that?
Flowers.
Flowers.
Flowers, plants, things that will allow, bees and things like that to travel around and to pollinate.
Grow how high?
Oh, it's no more than 2 or 3 feet.
Okay. And it'll be maintained,
Absolutely
pruned, and all the other stuff?
correct.
Okay.
And the idea is to try to do this in a kind of a natural way, so that there isn't as much excess water that needs to be done, and fertilizer and things like these. These pollinated gardens are becoming a very big thing in all of Westchester. And if you look around, a lot of people have them in their own houses or their own backyards as places for different things to kind of grow. So we are trying to make this to become a really kind of variegated green and colorful garden in front of this building. Again, it's to our advantage because we're trying to, dissuade the building from being, considered a TD bank, and it's becoming now an Apple Bank.
Right. And they have a lot of this type of structure around.
Yes.
So no other questions on the board?
Nope.
A minute,
I still don't have anything. There's still no hands up, and I have no emails on either of the emails I have.
Did we close the public hearing?
Second.
Closed it.
One, did we close it first?
No.
Like make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
I'd like to make a motion. Give me a moment. On application 3208. Is that right? Yes, Apple Bank. That the board, I forgot, I've been doing it such a long time. How did I start in the past? That the board, in fact,
Finds the benefit.
if the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the community. Or
Mhm.
the board finds that in this case, that whether an undesirable change in the neighborhood character or by nearby properties will occur, the board finds that there will be no undesirable change in the neighborhood or adjacent properties due to the fact that the bank structure itself is there already. The bank previously had these illuminated signs, and the board feels that the placement and in fact, not just the placement, but the graphics on these signs are more in keeping with a better design than was there previously. Whether benefits can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, the board finds that in this case, given its location on the post road, given the width of the street on the post road, given the relationship of the front facade of the building to the curb line, that these signs are necessary to indicate the use and the fact that Apple Bank is now in this location. Whether the request is substantial, the board finds in this case that it is not substantial because there were previously backlit signs that had illuminated signs. The signs are in good scale with the building itself and the property also. Whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects for the general neighborhood, the board finds that there'll be no negative environmental or physical effects on the granting of this variance because the existing building is a bank. The signs that were there were signs that were there. Nothing basically has changed. And whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, and the answer to that question, yes, it is self-created, but it's non-determinative.
Arthur, can you just add something as far as?
I can hear whatever you want.
Just as far as whether the illumination, I know you said that it's similar to what was there existing, but just, something there as far as whether the illumination is expected to bother any neighbors or glare.
Well, the board finds that the fact that these signs are illuminated, the majority of these signs face a existing shopping center, which has a bunch of signs on it. And there's it's not facing any residential structures that the board feels that it will not be objectionable to any of those structures that presently exist around the building.
Thank you.
Second,
Arthur,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Robin?
Did you say-
Robin,
Yes,
Stephen,
yes.
Seth,
Yes.
thank you.
All right.
You're approved.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Number 4, case number 3209, Vinay Sharma, 29 Holly Place, requesting legalization of air conditioning unit on the premises located at 29 Holly Place and known on the tax assessment map as block 223, lot 211.
I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Hello.
Hi. Can you tell us what you're doing and why?
Yes, so this is we have two wall-mounted, those small Mitsubishi AC units.
Yes.
One of them, the condenser, the compressor. So this one's have the outside compressors. The one that's a part of this case is in a place that isn't far enough from the side wall. So this is the variance. So to be permitted, applied for permit, denied, put in the variance. I have the decibel levels for that compressor on hand.
Tell us what it is.
Yeah, it's heating, cooling is, let me share my screen actually. Then you can see it from the manufacturer. So it's this. This is a screenshot from the Mitsubishi manual. So it's the MXZ 3C24NA.
Yeah.
As you can see, at high speed cooling and heating, the sound pressure level, SPL, is 51. So it ranges between 51 and 55, which is the same as a dishwasher that's running, or kind of a conversation. So
That's
it is not, yeah. It's not some insane amount. And I believe in the packet, you should have the survey that shows the distance from the various walls.
Are they going to be attached to the house, the building? Or
No,
structure?
this is the freestanding. It's like the, the wall mount AC that then has the pipe that comes out.
Right.
Yeah. So they're already there. They're not attached to the house at all. The compressor unit is not attached to the house.
And when I'm looking at on the, and again, I don't know why I'm having problems reading these little prints.
Oh. It should be a survey by Scalise, right? Is that what you're looking at?
I have it.
Yeah. I'm asking because I don't have that on me, but I figured you would have it.
There are two measurements. One is 4.8 feet from the face of the,
Sidewall. Mm-hmm.
and then it's something else circled that says 12.1, and I'm not sure what that means. Richard?
That might be a dimension to the back property line.
Yeah, there's a back dimension and side dimension.
The rear.
That's going to the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other AC, he gives you 2 dimensions to the other compressor as well.
Correct, the surveyor just took
25,
the dimension in a
11.
strange location.
So is he going for a variance on two
Oh,
directions?
yard.
On the 2 variances on that.
One unit.
On that unit.
Oh, that's funny. I was reading it as the 2 units were getting 2 different variances.
No,
Those-
the unit
that-
on the left side is good.
It's fine. So it's just the rear yard and side yard dimensional setbacks on that unit. And that unit is totally concealed by both a wall and shrubbery and has probably been there for quite some time.
Yes.
So that's not up for variance now, is it?
That's the one on the right side of the property is the one that you were just looking at that's circled 4.8 and 12.1.
Right.
That's requesting the zoning variance.
Okay, the other one has been grandfathered then.
The other one seems to be it's saying it's 25 feet off the rear
Mhm.
yard and it's 11 feet from the side yard.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, so that one doesn't need a variance.
That one's there, doesn't need a variance.
Good.
I mean, and if it, yeah, so the one on the right is 4.8 feet from the right property's property line. It's well concealed. The house to the right is like 100 feet away,
Right.
and it's well screened.
Any other
A
I'm
very
sorry.
quiet unit.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
No,
Richard, anyone from the audience, from the virtual audience?
1 sec.
And no, doesn't answer?
Checking.
Give me a second.
Okay,
Nope. Nobody out, nobody from the virtual audience, nobody that's attending.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll do it. Okay. Application number 4, case number 3209, Vinay Sharma, 29 Holly Place. Second. Do you want me to go call out the disapproval or just go right into the board comments?
Yeah, just read the notice of disapproval. Clerk.
Notice to legalize an existing air conditioning condenser unit, which was disapproved because the condensing unit in the side yard is 4.8 feet where 10 feet is required. And has a rear yard of 12.1 feet where 25 feet is required. And which further, and all right, I'll stop with that. Okay. The board finds a benefit to the applicant from the granting of the variance outweighs any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community. In reaching this conclusion, the board considered the following factors. The proposed variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. This air conditioning condenser unit has been in this placed at this site for a number of years. With clearly no complaints from the neighbors. It is also a very quiet unit, has a very low dB level, and is also quite a distance from the inside neighbor, probably maybe 100 feet, and is sheltered by a wall. At any rate, as to whether the applicants can achieve their goals via a reasonable alternative, the board finds that the applicants could not achieve their goals via an alternative. The property is a very unusual shape. The house is placed way back in the corner, and due to the placement of the house, there are very limited options where to place the air conditioning unit in order to have it work efficiently. So the board finds there is not a reasonable alternative. As to whether the requested variance is substantial, the board finds it is not substantial. This is a small unit that has been in place for a long time, that is quiet, and let's see, that the unit is quiet, has been in position for a long time, and is physically small. As to whether, let's see, as to whether it will have an adverse impact on the environment, the board finds that it will not have an adverse impact on the environment. It has been in place for a number of years. It is a quiet unit with a low dB level, won't cause additional runoff or any issues like that. As to whether the difficulty is self-created, the board finds that it is self-created due to the homeowner's desire to have air conditioning, but that is not a determinative factor in this matter.
Take the second.
Second,
Robin beat me to it.
Martha,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Robin,
yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good
Bye-bye.
evening.
Good night.
Dropping off now.
Oh,
I still got a work call. Bye-bye, I gotta drop off.
I think I just got rid of the wrong person.
Send me the notes. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so who did I put? Which one of us did I put? Francine. Sorry, Francine.
Come.
Bring her back.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, want me to read it again? Because I just like disappeared and came back.
Yeah, sorry, Francine, I demoted you.
You demoted me. Okay. I was wondering why I disappeared. Application number 5, case number 3210, application of Megan Zimmer requesting to add front steps on the premises located at 108 Murray Avenue and known on the tax assessment map as block 119, lot 204.
Take a motion, to open the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you.
Are we waiting for the applicant?
Yes.
Oh, I have him here.
Be Tim and Megan.
Oops.
Yes, you got, Jeff is the next one. Should be,
I apologize.
it's okay.
I have my stuff out of order.
Whoop.
Oops, so I just got rid of the wrong person again.
Oh, so what are we up to now?
Number 5, 108 Murray Avenue.
What I thought, okay.
Oh, 108 Murray? Oh,
Yeah, Megan and Tim.
sorry about that. Must have shuffled.
But they don't seem to be here.
No, they're here. I shuffled them wrong. Tim? Megan?
Hey, Rich.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks for letting me in, getting my promotion.
You're welcome. I think we had Megan on the line before. I don't see her.
Megan has been following along. I've been emailing with her the whole time, so.
Yeah, I don't see her in the attendees list anymore, though.
Lost her.
I had her a second ago.
She may have fallen asleep.
Oh, she's back. She's back. She's back. Okay.
Oh, you're on then.
All right, I'm going to share my screen if that's okay.
Sure, yeah, make it helpful.
Absolutely. So my name is Tim Lenner. I'm the architect for the Zalmeyers. They have this property at the corner of Maple Hill and Murray. The house is already in an extremely non-conforming position on the property. It's been there since the house was built. It's got a 18-foot front yard on Murray, and where along where the front porch is, there's 6.3 on the Maple Hill side. They've got a set of steps that comes down from the front door now to a landing and then down to the sidewalk. So this front stoop is elevated quite a bit from the driveway area. And right now, the only access to get to the backyard is to come down these steps, out into the sidewalk, down the driveway, up these steps, over and up again. So that's a lot of walking and waiting to get to your backyard from your front porch. The view from the front porch is actually this. So the place where we're asking permission to build these set of steps is right here, which will lead to a walkway that'll get us to the backyard. So from the Maple Hill side, this is a photograph showing the sidewalk along Maple Hill. Here's the end of the existing porch. The steps will be positioned right here. And here's a straight on side view from Maple Hill. And you can see the rear yard. We're going to do some work to the rear yard that doesn't require any variances to make it a nicer, more recreational backyard for the family. And they like to have a really good access connection point from this porch, which they've been using obviously the whole time during the pandemic and even beyond, because it's a really nice, fun, big open porch. So we're simply asking to construct this set of steps here, which is about 5 feet wide. I set them in a couple of inches from the current setback, but it still brings us to 6.5 feet to that front property line. And that's why we're here asking for the variance tonight. This is a side view of what the steps will look like on an elevation. All existing front porch. We're going to put some new railings on, and the new railing on the steps would match the railing that's going on the porch. The steps are going to match the stucco. That's all part of the foundation of the house. And there's the other view looking from the backyard, you would say, up the set of steps and onto the porch.
So now you have to go all the way around the other side of the house to get to the back?
All the way around. And you're down a lot of steps and back up a lot of steps to do that. That's correct.
I don't have any questions. I drove by the site. It looks like a natural addition. And it looks like it would be a welcomed addition to that front.
It looks
porch.
like it should have always been there.
That's what I like to hear. Way to go.
So, right.
Given
Maybe
our first
cut down
case.
cut down that big bush there. Maybe they were there already. Maybe they're there. They might be
Maybe
there.
they were. Rich just didn't notice. I don't know. We try not to hide things from them.
The bushes are coming down, just so you know.
Oh, you just killed it.
Oh, no, never mind.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any,
It doesn't create any kind of runoff problems or anything of that nature?
other than the kids running off it?
Yeah, okay.
No, and if the house was set back more and this was what all that was protruding into the setback, it would have been permitted by code.
But the house isn't set back. It was
The
just
house
built
isn't
before
set
there was no setback, so there you go.
No, actually, didn't this get I think this might have gotten a variance, believe it or not, when it was built.
Well, for the porch. For the house
Was it the
itself?
porch? I don't have a copy. That's what I thought when I looked at it. I don't have a copy of the resolution with me though. I thought I had
Somebody
it.
built a little vestibule at the front door, Rich. Maybe that's what they got.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, possible.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Richard, anyone from the virtual audience?
Let's see.
A virtual board, I should say also.
Nobody with their hands up. 1 second. No, and no, nobody on email.
And I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Someone like to make a motion? This is not a difficult motion to make.
I can give it a try.
Thanks.
This motion is to add steps to the premises located at 108 Murray Avenue, Section 1, Block 19, Parcel 204. The proposed steps in the front yard will be 6.5 feet where 30 feet are required. And further, the addition increases the extent by which the building is non-conforming. The board finds that the benefit to the applicant from the granting of the variance outweighs any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community. In reaching this conclusion, the board considered the following factors. 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. No, it would not be an undesirable change. This is on a corner property of Maple Hill and Murray. The addition just increases the extent to which the building is non-conforming, and it is in line with other buildings in the area. It will be of a similar material to the present stucco along the side of the building, and fencing will be put in that will match the fencing that will be also replaced on the building, and it will not create any new area or any large visual structure. 2, whether an applicant can achieve their goals via a reasonable alternative, which does not involve the necessity of an area variance. No, they would not be able to put those steps there without getting this variance. And as I said, the property is already non-conforming. They cannot achieve their goal in a reasonable way. Right now, they have to go around the whole other side of the house in a way that's unsafe. And putting some kind of steps on the other side would not be a reasonable alternative. This is the safer alternative. 3, whether the variance is substantial. It's not substantial beyond the fact that it's already non-conforming. The new steps will be not very visible and actually fit in more naturally, will be fit in naturally with the look of the house. Whether the variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. No, it won't. There will be no problems created by putting these steps there. And in fact, it will be certainly safer for the homeowners and has no negative environmental impact. And whether this has been a self-created difficulty, yes, because they want to put the steps there, but that is not determinative.
So like a second?
Second,
Arthur,
Yes.
Irene,
yes.
Robin,
Yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you very much, board. We really appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Application number 6, case number 3211, Jeff and Melissa Benassi, 641 Forest Avenue, requesting installation of an air conditioning condenser unit on the premises located at 641 Forest Avenue, known on the tax assessment map as block 115, lot 131.
Good evening.
Good evening. Would you like to tell us why you're here?
Sure, thank you.
Arthur,
I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing. My apologies. Now you're on.
All right, appreciate everyone's time tonight. We are looking to add an air conditioning to the top floors of our house. We had already installed air conditioning to the bottom 2 floors. So we have an existing condenser unit out on the side of our yard. And what we're looking to do is add a second one next to it. We had submitted an application that was denied because this condenser unit, due to the shape of our property, was going to be less than 8 feet from our property line. We have kind of an oddly shaped, like a pizza pie shaped property. So a pizza slice, so that our property is actually getting narrower towards the back of the house. We're looking to keep the condenser units together, and we really don't have too many options or many options to put them on the other side either, due to again the limited amount of space that we have. The neighbor has a detached garage, which is actually quite close to the property line. So this would be kind of behind that, and our neighbors would not be able to see this new condenser that we're looking to add. It's about, it's about, I think, 8 feet rather than 10 feet. So there's a 1.5 foot or 2 foot difference there from what is allowed.
Do you have a precise measurement of where the placement will be relative to the property line?
I think that's the 2 feet.
And you're sure it's 2 feet?
Yes.
Of course, you know, when you're finished with install, you have to get it re-surveyed to show to the building inspector that what you're asking for is actually what you're asking for. Otherwise, you'll be back in front of us again.
I see. Yep. That's.
So how did you arrive at 8 feet? You have a property line which is diminishing the space between the side of your house. As you go back, are you positive that's the right measurement?
That's the measurement provided by my contractor. Yep. So the first one that we put, that's right next to it. So if you see the box right above that,
yeah,
that one was in compliance. So this is just right beneath that, or south of that, I guess.
Well, you realize that when the contractor puts it in, it's going to have to be surveyed, so that it would have to show that you're at least 8 feet from the side property line.
Jeff, do you have a more updated survey?
Well, I have a survey, but
The survey is from
26?
1986,
36?
56.
No, it's old. It's very old. 56, it's old. A question, the existing condenser, did you draw that in? That was, or I assume that was not on the survey. So that has never been surveyed as to its actual position relative to the side line?
I know that it was checked after it was built and approved. if that's the right terminology, after we finish the installation there. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking.
Do you
for.
have a survey with you? The same survey?
I think the one that I have in my application.
Yeah, that looks much bigger than what we have. What's the dimension from that wall of your house where the two condensers are from the property line, the bottom most?
Corner number at like 6'6" or something like
I
that?
can't read that. I don't know.
No, I
It's
can't.
blurred together on mine. It could be 8'6", it could be 6'6". I can't figure it out.
It looks like 6'6" to me, but I have one more. I apologize. Let me just grab the other one as well here.
Rich, was there a permit for the first one?
Off the top of my head, I cannot tell you that if I looked it up or not. I usually do. So I'm assuming there was.
We had applied for a
I
permit.
think there was. Let me see if I can find it right now anyway.
I think the location for it makes sense, and it's not, and it's certainly in keeping with it, and it's blocked by the neighbor's garage. But Jeff, just to get your dimensions right, so you don't have to come back here and get it reapproved, it's worth getting it right the first time.
Yep.
How long ago was the first condenser installed?
It was, I think, a year and a half ago now.
And you weren't required to provide a survey after it was installed?
2019. Yeah, it was 2019.
Yeah, I got summer of.
No, because we were probably able to measure off and figure out where it was.
Oh, so
If
and
it's- we only asked for a survey.
If it's close.
We only ask for a survey if it's close. If it falls.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it looks like 6'8", if I can read that. I believe that's the case. And I have a bigger one that doesn't have, I have a much larger one here, but that doesn't have a dimension off of that specific corner. I think you're asking for like these two corners to the property line, but there aren't any measurements on this one.
That would have been a better one to give me. By the way.
It might make it. I mean, I drew a line parallel to the property line at that point, as best I could in my lap. And you might have about 16, 18 inches from that line.
I will let the board know, I do try to remeasure when people give me that, the best we can.
Well, I don't know, you can't, you know where the property line is? I mean, in reality.
Yeah, no. Measure on the survey they give me. I usually do try to, measure their distances off just to see if they're close or if they are going to be able to fit it where they're saying. It's just, just to say, you don't even want to try this.
Where'd Lisa go? She vanished?
Nope, she's here. You're muted.
So since the denial didn't give any measurements like you said in the past, is that correct?
Excuse me?
No, the denial says the dimension. It says the side yard will be 8.
No, he's saying the public notice doesn't have a dimension.
Notice
Oh, yeah.
does not give a dimension.
Your voice isn't on, Lisa. Yeah.
Right, so the notice sent to neighbors does not specify the dimension.
So if we wanted to make a motion that it was 7 feet away, would be a problem with this? This is really, it's, you have an acute angle going.
It would not need to be renoticed. I would add a recital, just clarifying, what it says in the note, or I would revising what it says in the notice of disapproval, but it would not need to be renoticed to the neighbors.
Kind of like the swimming pool, the swimming pool.
Right, we gave them a tolerance.
Yeah, because I think, first of all, it's a hand-drawn survey, number one. It can say 6'8" or 6'6". It could be more or less. I mean, you really have to check a lot of things on that survey. We're gonna give you an extra foot to play with, Jeff. Well, because given the shape of your property is a difficult piece of property. I think it makes sense. It's the right place where it should be. And whether from the point of view of the impact from 6, 7 feet to 8 feet is really minimal. Given the unit, whether it has a high DB rating or a low DB rating, it's minimal to have 1 foot. So I would feel comfortable in doing something like that. I don't know about the rest of the board.
Yeah, I think that's fair and generous. And
Well, why do we have to sing back here again?
Well, and the best bet is that he is at 8.5 feet away and
right,
it works, you know, so.
yeah, so he's got some room to work with, and he can
Right.
proceed.
But it's your intent that you're gonna get it further away from the property line that you possibly can. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from our audience?
Nobody has their hands up. No email on mine. No email in the public. So
like
we're clear.
Well, clear, so I make a motion to close the public hearing. We got a second?
Second,
Would someone like to make a motion on this?
I will do it. File number 3211 for Jeff and Melissa Benbanaste, 641 Forest Avenue, Section 1, Block 15, Parcel 131 is requesting a second condensing unit in the side yard to be located in the side yard at 7 feet where 10 feet is required. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created, the board finds that undesirable change will not be produced. This unit will be placed alongside another existing condensing unit servicing the first floor of the house. It is in the side yard. It's below the street level. It is blocked by the neighbor's garage and utility side of their driveway, in addition to some screening. So it will have no change on the neighborhood. You can hardly see it from the sidewalk and from the street because it is set down, and there will be no detriment to nearby properties. Whether an applicant can achieve their goals via a reasonable alternative, which does not involve the necessity of an area variance, based on the shape of the property and the location of this house. This left side, this is a logical place to put a second unit that, let's see, that requires the variance, but based on the odd configuration of the house, it makes most sense to place it here and grant a minimum variance so that it sits nicely next to the existing condensing unit. Whether the variance is substantial, the variance is not substantial. It is a side yard. It is blocked. It is not visible from the street, and it is concealed by the neighbor's garage to the side. Whether the variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, this the addition of this unit will have no impact on the physical or environmental conditions. It again, it is a low unit. It will not have any impact on the line of sight. You will not be able to hear this from the street again, because it's kind of downhill from the sidewalk, and the neighbors won't hear it because it is blocked by their garage. That garage is really coming in handy for this recital here. Whether there has been a self-created difficulty, it is, and that they want air conditioning on the second floor seems reasonable, but it is non-determinative in this matter. So crank up the AC.
Thank you.
Someone like to second this?
Second.
Second,
All right.
Arthur,
Okay,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Robin,
yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Seth,
yes,
thank you.
So Jeff, you have some tolerance there to install it up to 7 feet from the property line, but you'll attempt to try to keep it as close to the house as possible, and then you'll have to have a survey to close out the permit.
Okay, thank
Understand?
you very much.
Okay. Go ahead.
Have a good night.
Good night.
night,
Application number 7, case number 3212, application of Danko Penchus and Carolyn Tusher, requesting a driveway extension on the premises located at 60 Corleone Avenue and known as tax assessment map as block 404, lot 271.
Hi,
I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing. Now you can talk.
thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Suzanne Nolan, and I'm the landscape architect for my clients, Danko Panchich and Christina Teutcher. We are seeking variances to increase the impervious surface to 39% from the permitted 30, where 35% is permitted, in order to widen the driveway from 10 feet to 18 feet in order to park one vehicle on the driveway while allowing access to the garage at the back of the house, and to install a walkway from the front door to Carleone Avenue. So if you would let me share my screen, or can I share my screen?
You can go to the bottom of your.
Got it. Okay. And just one. There we go. So the existing site is, this is the existing site, and we have the driveway, currently goes to the back of the house, and it's a long driveway to the back of the house, where and it's very tight configuration back here. What we are hoping to do is to widen the driveway by 8 feet to allow the parking of one car, while still allowing access to the back of the house into the driveway, into the garage in the back. So this will require, additionally, we'd also like to change the configuration of the walkway because it's necessary to, be next to the driveway, and to extend the walkway to Carleone Avenue, because presently, excuse me, I'm sorry. Presently, the walkway just comes right onto the driveway, and you don't access, you have to walk down the driveway to get to the street.
Is there a sidewalk on that street? I don't think so.
No, there isn't, but if you have a guest who parks on the street, it's just more pleasant and to walk on a walkway to the front door rather than to have to walk down the driveway. And additionally, because there'd be a car parked here, it's not that convenient to get to the front door. So so this will require a lot coverage variance. Right now, 35% is permitted. Presently, they are actually a little bit over. They're at 36.5%. And there really isn't a lot of extra things going on the property. It's actually a pretty small property for the zone. Basically, the zone permits 15,000 square feet, yet this lot is 8,700 square feet. It's also very narrow. The driveway actually is basically right on the property line in this location. And there's really, no way to achieve an additional parking space. This is the most efficient way to do it. Any other configuration would really require, much more pavement and a lot more lot coverage. So currently, I'm sorry. So this is the site plan and the pictures of the house. This is the front of the house. Right now, there's this masonry post would be removed. This is where the parking space would go. And I'm sorry, wrong direction. And you could see it's actually a very steep driveway. It's about 12%. Basically that's the proposal.
So you say the drainage, a preliminary drainage investigation demonstrates that the storm water generated by the additional pavement can be accommodated on site. What do you mean by that?
So an engineering firm was hired and they did some test pits to see where, in fact, a underground infiltration system could be installed, Coltex basically. And, the front yard, they hit rock at 4 feet, I think it was, which is just too shallow to put in an infiltrator. But in the rear yard, on the driveway in the back here, they basically have lots of depth. So that would be where the infiltrators would go. And the initial engineering seems to indicate that, yes, in fact, they can accommodate the water.
How do you see that spot being used? You drive in from the street.
Yes, you basically
You pull into that spot, or you go around the back and you drive back out and then pull in the spot. I'm trying to figure out.
It's so tight, you need to back into this driveway. So you would back into the driveway and you would pull forward into the spot. And
you would back into the driveway from the street. You would back down.
Well, in order to,
and then you would drive in, so you can drive out. Is that the intent?
Yes, so currently, in order to get into the garage in the back, so the garage is in the back here. This is the garage door, and it's too tight to do anything but back down the driveway and then do multiple.
And back in.
No, you would head in. Would head in, and then you have to back out and this way and do multiple turns and you come out. So it's a very difficult driveway to begin with. So my client would like to do is to actually be able to, park an additional car. So you would back into the driveway and then you would pull forward, and so that you would then head out.
So you still have to go through all those machinations in the back. It's just once you park in the parking spot, it's easier to get out.
Well, if you can park in the parking spot, you can actually get the car out of the garage in the back and not have to move, every car in order to get out of the driveway.
Yeah. So you cannot pull in forward and maneuver into the garage. You have to back all the way down the driveway into the garage.
Well, I think depending on how good a driver you are, you could, and how small your car is, you could head down the driveway. It's a nail biter in any event, but and you could then back into the garage, but then you have the problem of how do you then get out of the garage? So it's, in trying to make it as efficient as possible and as few turning movements as possible, generally you back into that driveway.
So in essence, the daily use of this is that it will allow a car to be there when someone else is not in the garage, but on the driveway at some point, and they can either back out to the street.
Oh, yes.
I can't see those out. Who would want to go around to the back into the garage and fight with those turns?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually, there's a charging station in the garage. So if you have an electric vehicle, you need to charge your vehicle, so.
Yeah,
There
you can move that also to the side. I mean,
But if you
table.
have more than
I mean,
one
there's ways you can do
car,
that. But I'm just saying this is probably how they would normally use this, is so they can,
Yeah.
if there are two cars parked in the driveway, one can back in here so the other one goes out without going to the street. Talk about daily use.
but if you have two cars, one of them, they both have to either leave or only, I mean, the one in farther has to back. It becomes very complicated to get a car out of there if you have more than one. A lot of the maneuvering.
I'm saying not
with this-
going down to the garage, but staying on the driveway where one would not block the other. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's precisely what they're
That's
looking
the goal, yep.
So is there any way you can reduce the paved area? How much is that new parking space worth in square
How
feet?
much is the new parking space for this? It is, parking space itself is
240.
is 244.5 square feet. And that's really, it's not excessive. That is, it's 23 feet. And then, the flares for the
No, that does not look excessive. I don't know if those flares is it functional? Is it going to accomplish your needs? Because that's still tight on the street. The drawing looks great, your color rendering there.
Yeah, so I was just trying to find I think that it's all that can be done, because again, we can't, unless the village right of way, unless the driveway is widened all the way to the village right of way. And I don't think that would be, I don't know if that would be permitted. I thought it wouldn't be, because that would encourage parking on the village right of way. And this allows all parking to be on private property, because this is the property line.
When you did your calculation, did you calculate the walkway that's in the right of way?
No,
Okay.
but the drainage, the engineering report took into consideration that square footage of pavement.
You don't have a topo of this area, do you? I see, how high is the walkway over the parking lot, over the parking space?
Is the I'm sorry, that is on this drawing.
So I see the topo lines on this drawing.
Yes,
I don't see, so how high is the edge of the walkway above the?
it would be
Parking
the height of a curb, which would be 6 inches.
That's it?
Yes.
Can you zoom in on this area?
Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to have to do this. Yes, here we go. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right, I can bear with you. You just had it then.
Yeah, and I'm on the wrong page now. Okay. I'm sorry.
Doesn't the plus?
That doesn't have the
And the
grading.
hand, then we'll move it up to the center.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Yeah, so here we have,
49, 48, 47. So you actually have 2 feet depression here from this from the 49 contour down to the 48, down to the 47, and pretty near halfway, a little more. So that, I can't believe that's only 6 inches unless you're parking on a hill.
bear with me here.
The pathway will be, okay. Does it go?
Oh, it's basically a curb, and if I think just if we go back to, it's the height of a curb. So I think this basically, shows it better. that,
But I'm reading the contours. I mean, if you drew a profile across there, you would see.
yeah, I have to admit that the draftsperson did not. So this is the 48 contour and that's the 49 contour. And this 49 is supposed to come right to here. So that's 6 inches. So I apologize. My draftsperson did not, fix that.
The photographs look like that the driveway and the ground next to it was higher.
Let me get to the photographs and we can look at that. Oops, sorry. So I'm making
And you
it really
can't change
nauseous.
the texture of that parking area to get something that's a little more porous.
So the problem with porous pavement on a hill is that you need
You have to bench the underground under it.
Yeah, and the thing about the porous pavement is that you also need to be 10 feet from the structures. And we're really not 10 feet from the structures. The other thing too is they did do a test pit in the front yard and there really isn't a lot of depth to bedrock in the front yard.
There's, if you look at the plan, there's one catch basin in the rear corner, in that, near the garage. Is that designed to capture all of the rain runoff that will come down the driveway?
That is the engineering, yes, so that catch basin collects water on the driveway and brings it to Coltex, which would be at the back. And so the engineer has designed it and has, sized his Coltex. Granted, I know that has to be finalized with the building department and with the engineer, so.
You're going
But we
to
looked
repave
at
the
that
whole
first.
driveway? You have
I'm
to get the
sorry?
pipes- You're going to repave the whole driveway?
Yes, the idea is to basically repave the asphalt driveway.
The driveway near the garage is not in great shape, Arthur.
I know, I didn't get there today because it was starting to
Okay.
rain when I.
Yep.
So this basically is this is where the parking space would be. And
I think
so
we don't-
basically you could imagine the curb just being pushed back and that, being.
Also
just a-
pushing up across. It looks, I can't tell, but it looked like the land is rising from the driveway up across the front of the, going to the left on the upper picture.
Yes,
Correct?
so the high point on the, it goes from this corner and it, comes down and we go down the hill.
Yeah, so you're cutting into that so that you might have a little retaining wall being built.
It's not going to be anything more than a curb because you have to step out of the car onto, so the
Yeah, you
the front
think it's
yard
going to
will
be that
get-
way, but I'm telling you from what I'm seeing there, it might be a little higher than that
When you cut it in.
when you cut it into the hill.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that you have to do something for the cause. The question is how you solve it.
Arthur, can I bring up one other comment?
You bring up whatever you want.
Regarding the lot coverage, because I'm kind of going back and forth on this number and we're pretty close. I mean, they're asking for a 400, right now they're showing an overage of 417 square feet. The front walk is 221 square feet. I'm looking through the book and I'm trying to see where it says that the walk counts towards the lot coverage. For lot coverage under the definitions, it says buildings, accessory structures, pools, courts, drives, or paved areas shall be erected or installed to exceed a lot coverage of 35%. No building should not exceed 35%. And then when you go into the terraces and porches, the definition that we've always referred to is a paved terrace or wood deck not more than 18 inches above the average grade. So now this walkway is really like a landscape design and it is at grade. So if that's at grade.
It's a paved,
Pavement, it says.
That's it. That's not,
I know it doesn't make sense, but it is, it's, so it says basically, it says paved area, that's a paved area.
Mhm.
It's not, it wouldn't count as a terrace or a patio, because it's not a terrace or patio.
so that's a paved area,
That's, yeah, the paved area takes it.
paved area. So then if their walkway was, a permeable paver,
We've always considered it paved, if it can be gravel, we've considered we've considered a walkway as part of the lot coverage. It may be not part of,
well, now you're saying a bunch of different things, like
no, not,
the walkway, it doesn't say that the walkway,
you're right, the code is somewhat silent on what it is calling a paved area, and it doesn't really define it.
Okay.
So we've always had that driveways, whether they're gravel or paved.
for sure, that's without a doubt, driveways, gravel or paved counts.
It's basically so you don't turn your whole property into a paved area.
I can tell you, Steve, when I do the calculations, I put the walkways into the coverage.
Okay. All right,
Is the walkway set in cement as opposed to in bluestone dust or something?
Well, I think the homeowners would like it to be in, mortared
Yeah.
so that it's completely smooth, because it is they're accepting people into their home, onto their property, and it's the most stable.
And it's
No,
the easiest to clean the
otherwise it
snow-
move- they
and
move
it's the
around,
easiest to
right?
clean the snow off.
Yeah, clean the snow or just, it's more practical. I agree.
If it weren't, the front entrance, it would, they would consider doing something else, but it's the front entrance.
Yeah, no. If you want your mail delivered, you better have a clear.
Can they do anything with, since you're gonna repave, do something with the turnaround area and make that a more porous area?
So the problem with that is that there is a wall that is holding up the that area. And so the idea that this, if you could see the stone wall here, let me increase the size of this. The stone wall, you could see that it's a very steep slope on the other side of the stone wall. And so to introduce water behind the wall is not such a great idea. And granted, this is where the Coltex are going to be, this is the inspection port here, but they're going to be deep enough that it will, not affect the foundation of that wall. It's a tough site. It's really tight.
Will the wall along that, the rear yard that's outside will that be higher, the same height? Are they leaving it as is?
It's being left as is.
Okay. Looks like it's about.
So is there any way of putting Coltex to the right of that wall on that flat area, not flat area, but it looks like it's a flat area, to capture the wall, any water coming against that wall into there, so that maybe you can make that eat up some of the square footage that you're putting impervious material up here to some impervious material down there?
Well, this was the only spot where there was depth for the Coltex.
Not to the right of that.
No, there's a rock.
Slopes down very sharply there behind that wall.
Oh, well, I don't see the I can see it between these two staircases where it goes down very steeply, but above that,
There's no staircase there now.
well, I don't know what is it a lattice or whatever it is. It's pretty flat in that back, in a good portion of that area. The whole
Right.
contour wraps around us unless there's outcroppings that I can't see.
There's actually a rock in the corner here. So this was the only place where they found, they tried here, they did multiple test pits, and this is the only spot.
In the past, we've been pretty good. tight on increasing the coverage of impervious materials.
Would you say that again, Arthur?
In the past, on a lot of the questions, a lot of times they were trying to restricting the increase in impervious material.
Right. But you said gravel counts the same. It's not as.
No, accounts, no, it's about 40% water holes.
Well,
No, I
remember your coverage calculation for zoning is different than your coverage for impervious.
Right.
They're two different
Calculations.
things. They have to keep, they're kept separate. So
Can you
even
explain
impervious-
that, Rich? Say that again?
So even if you say you did the whole driveway with impervious pavers, you would get credit in chapter 95 for stormwater, but you would not get credit for lot coverage.
Lot coverage, doesn't impact lot coverage.
But isn't the whole goal for that is to reduce the runoff?
No, the whole goal is that so you don't look at your neighbor's house and just see it's zoning, it's more visual. You don't want to see a house that's all paved.
Well, I don't think the people in our community want to see that either who live there. So, I mean, I think the real question is the mitigating circumstance. It makes the requirement to retain the water a lot less.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think, but that's the whole reason about the 18-inch, the 18-inch height thing, which does not make sense with the driveway and the walkway, as Steve is saying. The whole 18 inches above grade, you count that when you have like a wood deck that's more than 18 inches above grade, or you have a patio that's raised more than 18 inches because it's more visual.
Isn't there also something in the code about you can only park in front of the garage overnight? Isn't it?
No, it's
Didn't we
not
go through that
overnight.
once in the past? What?
It's not overnight. Your driveway has to end at a garage. I was actually kind of thinking that when we were going over this.
I think we changed the law a couple of years ago because you used to have to
No.
park a certain distance from the road, even if you were in your driveway.
It still says, it's 25 feet in from your
Could've sworn
property
we
line.
changed
I don't think
that.
you can have a parking spot in your front yard unless it is going towards a garage.
If it ends at a garage.
Right.
But there's some weird thing about you could have one in a side yard, but you're in the front yard here. So I think I missed that.
No, but this is on its way to the garage.
Technically.
It's a kind of, a modern house would not be built like this because the other thing about this is it's the most inefficient use of your pavement because you're going down this really long driveway to the garage in the back of the house. And I think a more modern situation would be that you would have the garage door facing the street so that you would not be eating up all of this, all of your impervious surface with
your backyard.
driveway. Right. Yeah. So it's basically, it's a charming house, beautiful architecture. The car is hidden in the back, but it really was an inefficient, way to build it. And hence, we have this lot coverage issue now.
People only had one car in that era when they were building those houses.
And I can't believe they turned into the garage anyway.
In 1937, those were big cars,
Yes, right.
it's
Big turning radius. Big turning radiuses.
Arthur?
Yeah.
I don't know if the board realizes. I mean, the homeowners bought this house in 2019. They didn't realize that this was an issue. I mean, it's not like they've had this house for 20 years.
Right.
I think we all agree that there is a problem with the driveway.
Yes, they need relief.
I think the real question is the coverage, and that's
why they're here.
That's why they're here, correct.
I don't have a problem with this. I don't know about anyone else. I mean, they're addressing the water. To me, the biggest issue was the water runoff, given this very sharp slope, downward slope at the end of the property and the houses below. But if you're addressing it adequately through the catch basin and the, I'll say cul-de-sac.
Coltex.
Coltex, thank you. That, okay,
That's correct, Irene, because if you think about it that way, there's probably none of the water on this property is currently
staying
contained,
there. No,
correct?
right.
Is everything over land and down to the neighbors behind us? Is that?
It'd probably be a better situation for the neighbor.
Have we heard, have the homeowners spoken to any of the neighbors? I don't see any letters in here.
I don't know that they
I saw the
have.
I saw the homeowner when I was there today. She came outside while I was looking around, and she said the neighbor to the facing to the right, they had shown the plans to, and they were fine with it. They hadn't spoken to the neighbor on the left, and I didn't ask about the neighbor below. But
So is that fair to say that the current situation is all over land? The leaders are not captured in any Coltex that are around the property?
Or some dry wells that were built in 1937.
yeah, the dry wells that no longer work.
Well, they must work, otherwise they'll be.
Well, they work or they're full, and it runs down into the neighbor. To me, it would help this, if anything, would help the neighbor below. You're not adding that much coverage, and you're helping the water situation by creating the Coltex and the catch basin at the base of the driveway where the water would be accumulating normally in a heavy downfall. That's just my view.
Well, that's if they design the Coltex to do.
One
Capture that.
assumes that's what they're doing because that's what they're paying for.
Are they designed to just capture the additional area of this new driveway, or
The
could they
entire.
do they have room to oversize the, right? The code would require them to capture the additional
Runoff,
runoff, right?
Right.
but if
I
there's no
both-
capture,
Do they have the ability to capture more than that?
Yes, but know that, yes. I think that it was 1,000 square feet. And that's more than the 240 square foot of the parking space.
And let me just look, all right, so and that's all the additional. Let's see, existing is 31, the proposed is 30. So 329 is your additional. How is our overage more? We're adding 329. Oh, you're taking out some piers. So if you can, if they can have like net no increase, isn't that acceptable, Arthur?
Oh, I would think so.
And it sounds as if this would be adequate to take off some of the existing runoff that's already there. It's more than is required from what you said, yes?
Yes, it's more than is required.
Arthur, why don't you ask if there's anyone on the call in case there's a neighbor who has something to say?
Well, Richard?
I've been looking, there hasn't been anybody.
The change is 329, then the overage.
I'm just thinking, often we get neighbors who have
Oh, we're
opinions
already-
about runoff.
Oh, that's right. Oh, all right. So now, I'm sorry, just it's taken me till now. So we're currently, the existing house, no changes, is currently 87 square feet over. They're proposing to have an overage of 417. So they could perhaps put the drainage in that would, account for, like 600 or 800 square feet if they have the tolerance of 1,000, and that would put them, they'd be, accounting for some of the existing square footage of impervious surface that currently is just going over land and downhill.
Right.
If they oversize the storage
Mhm.
systems, if that area is as deep as they hope, and if they can
Well, I guess we can condition the approval based upon what was told to us to handle 1,000 square feet new impervious material. And then it's up to the engineers who are going to do this to prove it to the town engineer to get approval.
1,000 sounds like the maximum. You know, the overages are 417. Why don't we just double that so they have 800 or something like that?
But our client just said that, I mean,
They have the ability to do
the
it.
applicant just said they're going to size it to 1,000.
I would like to refer to, I'll have to pull up the report just to see exactly what that says. Yeah. Let me, all right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pull out the report if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Okay, because I have to go through my files and you know, you're not going to want to watch that. So,
So you want to get over the minutes while she's doing that?
Yes, yes. Lisa?
I'm here.
So any comments on the minutes?
I think it was Jonathan that pointed out that I had in 2 separate spots that you guys approved the minutes, so I fixed that. That was the only change I got.
It was also mine. I
Oh, that was
couldn't approve
yours.
the minutes because I wasn't there at the meeting.
That's right. That's right. That was the one that didn't belong in there. So I corrected that.
Would someone like to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second,
Second.
We have to do a roll call or we have?
Arthur,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Robin,
yes,
Stephen,
Yes.
Seth? I don't think it was there last time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Francine, is our next meeting on April 28th?
Yes,
Seth should not vote. I think, Seth, you were not there in February.
what I just said, Seth wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
then do we not have a quorum?
Have a call.
No, we do.
Did
3.
Right.
So one of the options in the back here, getting back to the site plan. Did we finish with the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Are those 2 little X's in the back? Is that the entry to the garage? Because you have a planter against the house, it looks like, with an arrow. Is that correct? Where's the
Yes.
39 point, that planter?
but the thing is that I believe that because of that counts toward lot coverage.
No, but
Because-
is it where the word planter is that pavement?
There's overhang. And I assume that would be counting toward lot coverage. Because there's an overhang.
But what's the surface? Oh, so wait a minute, that box there is an overhang
Correct.
that goes across the exterior wall of the house going to the left, where it says 10 feet? It's a dimension line, 10 feet.
No, it's actually an overhang. I don't have a picture of the back of
The
the house.
overhang is a little box that sticks out 3 feet from the house. That's what I'm reading here. And beyond that, there's a word planter with an arrow. It's a little triangle. And then there's a 10-foot dimension line, correct?
Right, so the overhang is 3 feet
Correct,
by 10 feet.
correct.
And underneath it is planter.
I mean, going towards the rear property line, that whole box is a planter from the 10-foot property line dimension? No.
I'm
I don't think
sorry.
so. I don't think so.
I-
That's a dimension line with his leader going to the overhang.
Right.
So you can eliminate a reasonable, not a reasonable amount, but I would say about 80 square feet of coverage in that area. Because that doesn't help you from backing out of the driveway.
There's no question, but I think maybe that's something for Rich to opine on, because I think that, is that lot coverage or is that not lot coverage? Because
Not the overhang. You have a word planter with an arrow going to where the planter is.
Yeah.
It's not the planter that's in there. What's in there is a dimension line of 10 feet with a leader leading to the corner of the planter.
it's basically 10 feet times 3 feet. It's 60 feet. It's a 60-foot area that does not have any pavement, but there is the overhang above that, and because of that overhang, is that or is that not lot coverage?
Aren't you looking at it from a plan view, Arthur?
Yes.
So you're looking at it from
I'm
above,
looking
so
at the proposed site plan. There is the 2.5-story stone stucco and frame number 60. The lower right-hand corner of that area, there's a projection of the house. To the left of that projection of the house, there's a word planter.
But there's building over that planter. There's an overhang over.
But there's an arrow going to the planter. The planter is pointing to a line that's 3 feet. 3 feet. There's a planter there, correct?
Okay.
And in front of in front of that in front of that wall is pavement.
Yeah. What would you?
But where it
propose?
sits planter, what's under the word planter?
That's asphalt. That's the driveway.
Asphalt, precisely right. So you can eliminate 10 feet. I don't know how far that projection goes
He's
out.
saying to dig up the asphalt, the existing asphalt, don't repave that area. Is that what you're saying, Arthur?
Yeah, don't pave that area. You'll pick up about 50, 80 square feet of 10 times 80 square feet of coverage. You could plant in there, do whatever you want in there.
Well, so that would actually be 7 feet by 10. So
Yeah,
that would be
70 square feet.
And you'd have to put stepping stones through there though, because that is, there's
Well, if
a,
stepping stones are not connected, they're stepping stones, the water goes right through around them, it goes down. That doesn't count. Anyway, I'm just trying to eliminate some of the coverage, that's all. When do they want to do this job?
this summer.
So can you restudy this a bit and maybe a little more input from your engineers so that we can see a little bit better what they're proposing? You guys are proposing and adjourn for the evening because we're going to be over this for a bit of a time.
Yeah, so. Arthur, are you asking them to come up with either a way of reducing the coverage or ameliorating the water situation?
Both, to see what they're proposing. Because they're going to have an overflow and that overflow is going to go to the neighbor anyway. So, I mean, we have to address that. If there's heavy rain on that much pavement into the Coltex, it's not going to hold it.
Fair stuff.
Isn't the water issue a separate issue? That's really, I mean, isn't that outside the purview of zoning? Because that has to do with, Rich, are they pulling a permit for chapter 75?
95 or so? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than,
Yes.
it's beyond the threshold of impervious
The
material.
only thing I can see Arthur saying is that, Arthur, correct me if I'm wrong, is that one of the things that they answer is this an environmental, any kind
Right.
of environmental impact? So that's where I can see Arthur hanging
True.
out.
Yes, you're right.
That's interesting, Lisa, because your first inclination is to question the fact that we're concerned about the permeable surface or where the water is going, and we should just be looking at the lot coverage. And then the next step addresses the water.
Yeah, that was my first instinct, because as Rich had said earlier, that this is more about the visual aesthetic of, not wanting to have a paved lawn. And we have a separate chapter that deals with this issue. But as Rich correctly pointed out, one of the findings the board is required to make is about environmental impacts, which does include water runoff.
So from my point of view, I just want to, they're already over the coverage. And now they're asking a couple 100 square feet more of coverage to number one, do a longer path, to make an additional parking space to allow them to use the driveway in a more functional way. Can we pick up some of that additional coverage by eliminating it from somewhere? That's all I'm asking. If it's 70 square feet, it's 15 to 20% of what they're putting in.
So, yeah, I agree that there's little chance that there is a car that is going to be backing onto that bit of pavement.
Correct.
So to eliminate that and to put stepping stones in it would be certainly, I think, feasible. Yeah, I'd also like to.
I might soften the backyard too a little bit also.
Absolutely. But now, do you want an exact figure of what this would be at the, or is this something that we should be working with Rich on and come back to the next meeting?
Well, if you want to come back next meeting, that's what I'm suggesting, and have something that we can see and then say this is what we're going to approve.
Yeah, I think the chair is asking to see if we can get that lot coverage percent down from 39.
And for me, it's kind of hard to, my clients aren't on, they're probably listening. I don't know, Rich, do you see if are they watching?
No, I have one 860-472 number up there.
All right, so it would be hard for me to say, yes, let's,
I think they are here.
Okay.
Raising their hand. Somebody's raising their hand.
So that's probably them. So if we say that that's 7 times 3, that's 10 times 7 is 70.
You might find some other thing that's clever. It's something even better than that, possibly. I don't see how, but anyway.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh.
No, we hear you.
There we are.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Hello. So what we're discussing, so that you understand.
We've been listening, so.
Okay. You could have chimed in then earlier.
Well, we weren't sure. So we want to do this as soon as possible. So, what do we need to do to get this done, right? Because we've been living with this unfinished driveway. We want to be able to hold more than, right now, one of our big pieces is that we have about 3 cars between the family, and getting the cars in and out. We have to always move cars out to get one car, get one car out. We got
it's a problem.
It's like for modern day life, right? This was a house.
It's a problem.
Thing. So,
now we do want to respect the rules as well, and we completely understand what you're trying to do to kind of be well with the rules. So we appreciate that too. So please help us understand. I know I heard when you were speaking about the word planter, and I see it. I have a plan open in front of me on our laptop here, and what exactly is the size of the area that we would dig up?
Well, I haven't
Potentially.
got a scale, because I don't know what scale this is, but I see 10 feet in one direction. I don't know what the projection of that box of part of your house is, but you eliminate 3 feet. So it's 10 feet by 7 feet, 7'4" maybe, I'm guessing visually.
Okay.
So that's about 75 square feet reduced from your increase in impervious material that you're proposing. Impervious meaning a water cannot penetrate through it.
Got it. And I'm sorry, that's right below the word.
May I share my
planter, right?
screen
No,
again?
the word
Yes,
planter
go
has
ahead.
a little arrow hooking up. Whoops.
Yes.
Okay, so right
Okay.
here is where we're talking about. And the idea would be that right now where it's unpaved under the overhang, that this would increase to basically this area. And so then walking out of the terrace, you would walk on stepping stones, to the driveway. And so this would be
Well,
then.
it'll be even more than that.
Excuse me?
That 3 feet is just an overhang from the floor above?
Yes.
Ah, so you have 10 by,
But the
might be
part
almost
under the
90 square
overhang
feet
doesn't,
there.
it doesn't count, the part under the overhang doesn't count, that's lot coverage. Rich, is that
There is
correct?
dirt, yeah.
I would
That is
agree.
dirt.
I would think that if I look at it as a plain view, you're looking down on this.
Right.
So I would count it as lot.
So we get no credit for the piece under the overhang to begin with. So all we would be gaining would be that which sees daylight, and that's the 7 by 10. And so so it's 70 feet. And in the end, the 70 feet, even if you kind of like wink, didn't count the stepping stones, that makes 38.3% lot coverage. So it's kind of like, pulling hairs or splitting hairs, pulling hairs, splitting hairs.
Would changing that affect the ability of the car to make all the maneuvers it has to make to get into the driveway?
Probably not, because that is generally, truly, as you back up your car, that is the least driven on part of the driveway, because you're backing out and you're, coming out this way. So generally, you're not going to be driving on that. But again, from a, yeah, that still only takes us to 38.3%. And yeah.
Where 39 is required.
Well, 35 is permitted, and we're asking for 39.
Right, 35.
Could you ask the engineers if they'd be comfortable making this lower area in front of the garage a permeable paver, or you didn't want the water to be perking through this wall? Because if this is where your Toltecs are going to be.
Permeable pavement is not recommended within 10 feet of a structure. So that would mean that, so 10 feet, so from here forward to here, it is not recommended by the manufacturer of any of the devices because of the potential impact on the foundation of the building. And so now we're on this side of the, we're getting close to the wall. And the whole point of this, of pervious pavement is that you have this reservoir under it where you're holding water, and holding that much water right next to the foundation of this wall, I don't think is advisable. I doubt the engineers would think it was advisable too, but we could ask them.
And actually, I'm looking at this, you can take from the corner of the garage, you can do a sweep. So they have not long enough, but a partial back out space. And all that can be, in that area can be eliminated too. I mean, it has to be sculpted. You'll pick up more than that in coverage.
Could you clarify that? I
In
don't,
other words, if I'm reading you correctly, the two piers, the two boxes, that the garage door is between those two little boxes with X's in, is that right?
correct, yes.
So you're driving down here, you're gonna go like this, you're gonna come down your, oh, sorry, you can't see my hand. You're driving down your driveway. You're gonna make a left turn and then back into the garage? Is that what you do if you're gonna use the
Normally,
garage?
normally we back straight down, back
Yeah,
down and go back and then pull in forward into the garage.
okay. Where you just
And-
pulled in a little bit. Now, when you come out, you're gonna
You go-
you're gonna swing back here and then hopefully swing up here if you can. I'm just talking about. There's a whole area in here that your wheels are not touching.
We actually use that bottom left corner,
Well, I'm looking at the
park-
upper right-hand corner, but okay.
upper. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking at the upper right where the number 10 is, right there.
Okay.
right
Right,
hand.
right, that's what we were talking.
And if you eased it up a little bit, and then you swung it down, so you can think where you're gonna turn your car, you'll pick up even more coverage there. So you eliminate a little more coverage. Everything will help you in getting to what you want to do.
No, thank you, Arthur. We appreciate it. I'm not visual. I don't know aesthetically if that's how that's
And even
going
take
to
chalk
look.
and mark it out and see how your car runs, and that's every place your car doesn't go to could be eliminated. I mean, on that end. In any event.
We understand. So we would have then what, a stone, pieces of stone as a walking path, because that's
Yeah,
a
stepping
patio.
stones that are set into a planted area. It's like grass, something like that. I don't know what it goes, how you're gonna do with it. Suzanne is the.
If we're allowed to do that, then yes, we can look into this to see how to make it look nice and
look. In fact, it'll soften up your backyard a bit.
Okay, we would be willing to look at that. I mean, look, we've done everything we could, hired everybody, asked everybody to make this right as best as possible. And I understand that we're dealing with a challenging property that's very narrow.
On a very nice street.
On a beautiful street that we
That's correct.
absolutely
That's
love.
correct.
We are so happy to be here. We are very grateful for that. We were kind of hoping that oversizing the water capturing, what are these?
Basins, the water.
The Caltex. We were kind of hoping to kind of buy some grace with that, so to speak.
You did. You bought some grace.
Yeah, because that's about as much as we can do. Like we were told that we're just limited with what we can do with the property, and we love it. It's very green. It's beautiful. Like we have a lot of ground on it. We have grass. We have trees. We just love it. We don't want to take anything away from that. So if I understand this correctly, we're not able to move forward today without reconsidering this corner area to try and give something back there if we can.
Yes.
And do we need to, like, we were trying to get this started as soon as we can, and yeah. So is there a way we can do this somehow quicker and not have to wait until the next month, or do we need to do this in the same forum the same way? We can recreate the proposal to your liking and submit it to you tomorrow.
No, but that won't work. We have to vote on it and we have to see it.
Okay, I see.
I'll be honest with you. I mean,
Can I ask, what are we saving, Arthur, by doing this?
about, it's hard for me to guess, but I would say about 90 square feet of coverage.
Yes, but in terms of the runoff, because the runoff is really where the concern is, right?
Well, I think this would soften their backyard. I think it would have an effect that it will eliminate a reasonable amount of hard surface there. That's number one, visually.
Are you just,
I'm thinking more about, well, in the past, when we have these problems with coverage, we ask the applicant to see how they can reduce the coverage somewhere else on their property. It's just a goal. We have a lot of flooding in our community. Whether it floods here or not, I don't know what happens with the property down below from this. It just helps the cause, let's put it that way.
well, that's my question.
And I'm an architect that likes to build, you know what I mean?
No, well, yeah, my question is just aesthetics versus the flooding, like, so.
It's not just aesthetics, it's that they're going over what's allowed in coverage by almost 10%. Is that a correct?
No, it's actually, the request is for 39%, where 35% is permitted.
4%.
Yeah, 4%.
So I'm just wondering if the benefit
For the 1 month? to
is
see if
worth
they
it.
can-
Well, not just the 1 month, but the cost involved to the homeowner. If it's, my concern has to do with the flood, the potential the increase in the impervious surface.
Wait a minute, they're
results
redoing
in
it, hold it, they're redoing their driveway in the back. They're taking up the pavement,
Correct.
putting new pavement down. It will save money on pavement that they're putting down.
Oh, they're
Don't look at the
picking,
cost. And from the landscape architect's view, it's drawing a line and she can calculate what that saves.
I see. So
It's not from the
it's-
professional end. It's more from, it's not going to be a cost add.
so you're
to your
saying that driveway is already coming up anyway because
That's
they're
correct.
replacing the
That's
entire driveway. So the
Right.
question is just, instead of that little corner there, instead of putting more driveway back in there, instead put stones and some landscaping.
Landscaping there,
So
whatever
that
they
you're
want to do.
reducing the impervious surface in
Right.
that corner.
I
Okay,
have to,
and that would help aesthetically, but it would also potentially help with the amount of flood water that would be generated.
Hopefully, yes.
yeah, I have to tell you, we're, I really want to make this happen, but it, like, that's an area that we walk on right now. And if we change that, we're going to be walking on dirt.
Well, it depends how you walk on it. You can have stepping stones. Stepping stones are stones that are set in the ground, which does not have a hard. It could be pachysandra, it could be grass, it can be whatever you want.
Okay, I mean, I see that you want us to do that, and we just have to do that. So I guess we don't have a choice.
And if you can't do it, then you come back and say to us, we can't do it. You know what I mean?
We can do it. We just wouldn't want to do it because we use the space today. We walk on it. We like the fact that there's a planter there, and we like the fact that there's asphalt there where it is, because we go back and forth. There's a terrace there. We like to spend time there. Like we go through in and out of the garage. We go. That's a covered. That's an enclosed terrace underneath, like at the same level. So we sit there. Like we
Where is
walk
the
back and
terrace? Is
forth.
that box just a terrace that I see to the right of that 10-foot? Is that just a terrace?
In the yard, it's a terrace, but there's a sun porch above it. First floor sun porch with the terrace below.
So is there a door off this one side of it?
No, it's open.
It's open all around, okay.
It's open, yeah. The door, the door to the basement door is here. And above, this is a sunroom on the first floor. So you come out and you walk onto the grass.
You have
or
a picture
walk
of the
out
back
this
of the
way.
house?
Do I have a picture of the back of the house? Okay. I'm going to have to do some fancy.
I didn't need dinner yet.
I'm just wondering, before we make these people come back next month, what the other members of the board think about this as well?
Fine.
Did you find a picture? I don't have.
I have a picture that I have to
you,
mail it to myself and then share it with everyone.
Suzanne, can you eliminate the, just share for me?
Eliminate the share, I'm sorry.
Can you eliminate the share for a moment?
So sorry, yep.
So it would be, I'd be having to poll the board. I'm not, at this point.
Well, I'm just wondering, it's something they obviously prefer not to do.
But that's not the issue here.
No, I know that's not the issue.
It's not the issue here. Whether
issue
they
is what-
prefer to do it or not is not the issue.
I got that,
The
but,
minimum required to relieve their difficulty.
and I understand that right, and that the granting of a variance is something that we should not do quickly or easily. I'm just wondering if the benefit of requiring that makes us.
I'm not asking them to require in the back to reduce the coverage that they're proposing. They can do it any way they want to do it. I'm giving a suggestion of one way to achieve that.
Right.
How much
And if
do
the
we
other
have
board
to
members
re-
don't feel that's worth it, then we'll just go with voting on the application that's in front of us. I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
Lisa, should I
Stephen, Irene?
poll the board how they feel on this application?
Arthur, that's entirely at your discretion.
Because this is not unheard of to have in the past, have a applicant come back with a less coverage. It's just not we've done that in the past many times.
Okay, so maybe since no one is speaking up either, we should come back next time and they can give us a picture of the back of the house. And
What they,
can tell-
and calculations. I mean, do they know what, they're proposing?
So what do we need to do? I don't understand what's the number that we
No,
need
it's not
to
a number.
achieve.
It's, you're increasing, you're already over the coverage allowed by the zoning. You're increasing that coverage by 4% to eliminate your problem of your driveway with one car getting out of the way of a car coming. You can park two cars in the driveway easily and both can be maneuvered. To do that, you're asking for a 4% increase in your coverage, which you're already over. I'm trying to say that what's the minimum that will relieve your difficulty? I'm looking at a corner of your back of your driveway in the back that can eliminate some of that. It doesn't affect what you're doing. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, you might find that it's easy to not have a walkway going to the street. But I don't know if that's the right solution.
But I mean, maybe we'll eliminate the walkway that goes to the street. I don't know. We really like
You have to show us what you're doing. That's the thing. So we can vote on it.
But I want to know what's going to work. So that's what I'm asking for. So I know what we can bring back to you, because we do like to have that little bit of asphalt there because it just makes it easy and convenient and it's contiguous space. We have tried to increase by more than double the amount of, if I understood the math correctly, more than double the amount of water we're going to be capturing that we weren't capturing before, way above the requirement. So we're trying to do the best we can. And if we need to get certain square footage off of somewhere else, maybe we would rather eliminate that walkway to the street.
Well, you have to
which I
make
think
that,
would look
you're gonna
beautiful.
have to make that decision, not the board.
So I can try, if you can just bear with me, I think I can share with you the picture of the back.
Okay.
So let me just try and find, am I sharing my screen with you right now?
No, we got 11 people. on the screen.
Oh, darn. All right. Okay, well, that's not working. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Do you see that now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the back of, this is the garage. This is the little, so this is the paved area that we're talking about. This is the overhang. And yeah, so this is, so, you know, the basement door is here, and out, you come out and you walk on the pavement.
Well, you also have a barbecue there, and you have your garbage cans there and potted plants there, so you're using it for storage.
That's an old
And if you
picture.
swung out, I'm looking at the movement of the car.
Well, it's a natural spot to put the barbecue on
Or you
pavement.
can put it on a soft, you know, covering of ground there too, also. Because you don't move, your cars don't go in that area.
No, we currently move the barbecue in and out of garage.
No, what I'm saying is you're an actual movement of the wheel turning to maneuver.
I understand. If you would be so kind to tell us how much we need to take off.
The most you can, if you get your access to the garage. This is a curved stone wall that's here. It's not on the survey like that. Is this survey correct? The plot plan?
I'm gonna stop sharing this picture. Should I stop?
No. I'm saying the stone wall on the right-hand side has a curve to it. The drawing that's presented us has a straight line.
I was there, Arthur. It looked like it was a straight wall. I don't know what that curvature is showing.
That's a very wide angle lens then that's doing that distortion.
Let me find a better picture if I can.
Great.
Yeah.
You know, let me poll the board. If they're inclined to grant what you have now, it's 3 votes out of the 5. If you get, I'm polling it. That's not a vote. It just means that this is how they're leaning. We can, if I feel, and then we can go to a vote.
I'd actually like to hear what the other people have to say.
I'll tell you what I think. I think the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the neighborhood or the community with this 4% increase. I think there's a lot of opportunity for the engineer to step in here and capture additional runoff that would more than make up for this overage in lot coverage. If this were a project for me, I would certainly explore permeable pavers on the lower area below my house that is against the garage that doesn't have a basement. I would think that that would be an excellent use for a permeable paver system there. If that's where you're going to plan to install 2 Cultex or Cultex that are capable of accumulating, the runoff from 1,000 square feet of permeable impervious surface. So I think they've already made this as small as it can be and still be functional by having a narrow entrance from the street and a hopefully wide enough area to fit the 2 cars and still pass by. When I was there today, I noticed the homeowners were just waiting to kind of play musical musical chairs with their cars. So it will certainly benefit the homeowner, I think, more than be a detriment to the community. That's what that's how I interpret it.
All right, I'll throw in my opinion. I agree. I think my big concern was a runoff down into the neighbor below. If that is being handled adequately or more than adequately by the Cultex at the base of the driveway, then I could support the application. I'll stop there. I basically agree with Stephen.
If I'm voting, I would say that I'm relying on Stephen's expertise and also saying that I believe the benefit also outweighs the detriment for the family.
So then let's go to a vote. Robin, you can either add on or not.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
You can give your opinion or not. It doesn't matter because there are three people that.
Right, I think I agree. with
Okay.
that.
Then I'm going to close the public hearing.
Second.
And who would like to make a motion?
I will make that motion. Are we going to, does that motion include the provision, Lisa, or how do we verbalize the requirements that of the drainage? That it is
Are you
condition that it's a condition of the approval?
Condition of the approval is that they're going to capture 2 times the square footage of overage. Is that
New impervious.
the 2 times the new impervious?
You're saying with Coltex?
Yeah.
I mean, Rich, is this
Or do
something?
we not go there?
Yeah, I don't think this is an appropriate zoning condition. This is, I mean, what do you?
I'm not sure. I mean, the board.
Perhaps just the fact that the initial engineering studies indicate that the
Can far exceed the.
that the capacity exceeds the required amount of stormwater mitigation and not put a quantity on it.
Lisa, in reality, what is being asked as a condition, Lisa, is that in lieu of eliminating coverage that would eliminate runoff, that the applicant design the retention to be at a certain percentage of what is required.
Yes, in order to minimize the environmental impact, right, of it under.
Or burden the neighbors. I mean, this is a piece of property that slopes to the back on a very heavy downpour for a stink pin time. These Coltex will fill up, and have to be relief valve from it, and it's to go to the neighbors. And I don't care what you do, that's in the design.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have the gist of it. We can do that as a condition. And we'll tie that to a recital about the lot coverage and about the slope of the property.
And I'm sorry,
All right, Stephen, did you hear that?
Yeah, I'll try. But feel free to weigh in. The board finds that, let's go back to the front page. Application 3212 Danko Pancic. Help me out there. I got that. Carolina Tusher, 60 Carleon Avenue, Section 4, Block 4, Parcel 271 is disapproved on the following grounds. The driveway and walkways as proposed will have 39% lot coverage where 35% is permitted. The board finds that the benefit to the applicant from the granting of this variance outweighs any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community. In reaching this conclusion, the board considered the following factors: whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Board finds that an undesirable change will not be created. It will allow the homeowner to park a car in the driveway and still pass by with another driveway, making their garage at the back of the house functional and usable. And it will not be a detriment to nearby properties visually, because it'll just be an extra car parked on a driveway in the front of the house. And the board has asked that the homeowner take excessive measures to capture the rainwater so as.
Well, we'll save
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna just kind of add it in each line.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go to that, but we've asked to do further to mitigate the amount of water or the impact to the neighbors. That could be possible. Answering the detriment to nearby properties, part of that.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Whether an applicant can achieve their goals via a reasonable alternative, which does not involve the necessity of an area variance. The board has asked the applicant to explore the possibilities of removing any and all unnecessary paved surfaces, and this plan presented to us represents the minimum increase in impervious surface that to still have a functional driveway, a gracious walkway to the front door. And it's the minimum that they are comfortable with presenting. The variance substantial? The board finds that this variance is
You can say
substantial. Can I say it is substantial in that it's a 4% increase in lot coverage over the allotted 35%, but the homeowner has agreed to similarly make excessive
capacity
to store and to address that percentage of lot.
I would word different, that it has agreed to allow the increase of retainage to capture not only the proposed, but more than the proposed.
Excessive.
And just leave it that way.
Okay. Whether the variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, the board was very concerned with the impervious lot coverage here and attempted to address it as best we could by asking the homeowner to substantially capture or create a system that will exceed the capacity required by a standard construction lot coverage. Now I'm just like saying words.
Well,
You sound good.
Lisa will look.
I mean, like Lisa's the only one that's going to read that and be like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
It's the same. It's the same gist that you said before, which
or one, right?
Yeah.
Right. And we will clarify that in the condition, I think.
Yes.
It'll get more clear. Whether there has been a self-created difficulty, it is most certainly self-created and non-determinative of this matter at this time. So for the reasons stated above, the granting of the variance is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the Town of Mamaroneck Zoning Board. Should we discuss that condition again, or Lisa, do you want to take a crack at it, or do we want to inform, or is that acceptable enough? They still have to file a building permit with a stormwater plan, right, Rich?
Not there.
Actually,
Yes, but they have to have the stormwater plan developed, so it's going to handle more than just the increase in the impervious material.
Yeah, we have the building permit already.
You have the building permit.
It's just a stormwater plan.
So I would make a condition to this, that the applicant, in completing the stormwater plan,
Francine has it on her.
that the applicant agreed to increase the capacity of the stormwater to accept not only the additional impervious, but 2 times the additional.
2 times the additional impervious. Acceptable?
Well, to me, it's fine. I mean, the applicant suggested that and agrees that, is that correct?
no, we didn't, we said, I said, exceed. So the issue is that I'm not the engineer, and the engineer.
I'm not speaking to you at the moment. I'm speaking to the real applicant.
Yes.
Not the representative. He agreed to do that. So it means another cold take, maybe.
Well, wait, now, so Rich, at what point is this prior to building permit or prior to C of O?
It's part of the building permit.
The erosion control, the erosion and sediment control has to be granted. Like Rob has to approve that before I can even issue my permit anyway.
Before you can issue your building permit, okay.
Do you think it's adequate what was proposed, Lisa?
Yeah, I can draft that.
Okay, someone like the second?
Anybody second? Thank you, Robin. Okay. Arthur,
I will vote for it on the condition that the erosion control permit that is submitted will adequately address what we discussed.
you can't get a building permit without the erosion.
No, that the erosion control that will be filed, what's that?
That it will be, no, but Francine, the condition is not.
That's what I'm saying, why I'm saying yes.
Right, conditioned upon the erosion control permit showing capacity for 2 times the amount of additional impervious surface.
But it's on here already. I wrote it.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
Yellow. It's on the yellow note.
On the yellow note, on the plan to go to him tomorrow.
You can continue with the vote.
I said yes. Irene,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you.
Enjoy your driveway.
Thank you very much.
Now I can go eat dinner.
Thank you so kindly. Really appreciate it.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
I'd like to wish, do we have any more to do tonight? Other than,
No.
I wish everybody a happy holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Happy
you.
holiday,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
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 Good night.
Good night, good night, good night, good night.